Mercedes certainly has the talent, but they don't have the machinery. After seeing McLaren cruise past them in the British Grand Prix, Toto Wolff and his team can't help but think the grass is greener on the other side. The W14 has seen plenty of positive change so far, but how far does it have to go before it can give Red Bull something to worry about? Let's find out in today's video. Toto Wolff, the boss of Mercedes, openly acknowledged that the W14 is still quite challenging to handle, even with all the recent upgrades they've implemented. They rolled out a modified front wing specifically for the British Grand Prix a few weeks ago, and they've consistently introduced various enhancements to their car throughout the European races. But despite these efforts, Mercedes found themselves trailing behind McLaren in terms of performance at Silverstone, and Ferrari outpaced them in Austria. As we approach the Hungarian Grand Prix this weekend, a new set of challenges await the teams, as the circuit's tight and winding layout favours cars that excel in low-speed conditions. The extent of Mercedes' competitiveness remains uncertain, considering their relative struggles compared to other teams across a range of cornering speeds. Toto Wolff, speaking after the British GP, didn't exactly shower praise on this year's W14. He said, "I think overall the car was not where we've seen it at Silverstone the last few years. That was the track where we were really dominant and strong, and the high speed was not good at all. Compared to our competitors in qualifying, we were also struggling with traction on the exits. Overall, the car remains to be a handful. Whoever has performances that are track-specific or due to an upgrade, they are able to just stay there at least. Now we have the resurgence of McLaren, who were not competitive at the beginning of the year, and that's good to see, because that means if you're taking the right decisions, your car can jump up by a huge amount. On the other side, I don't know what happened to Aston Martin and Ferrari. They made a step backwards, but overall I think this result is no more than solid." According to Mercedes technical director James Allison, there is high anticipation for the team's upgraded front wing to make a substantial difference at the Hungarian Grand Prix. This optimism comes from the promising signs exhibited by the new component during its debut at Silverstone. As part of their continuous efforts to revamp the problematic W14, the most recent addition to the car was a front wing specifically designed for the British Grand Prix. At first, it seemed that the anticipated performance improvements from the new part were not realised, as McLaren made impressive strides, surpassing the midfield to become the nearest contenders to Red Bull and the dominant World Championship leader, Max Verstappen. But James Allison has clarified that the primary focus of the new front wing is to enhance performance in slow corners. While Silverstone, with its limited number of slow corners, didn't provide an ideal setting for showcasing the wing's capabilities, the upcoming race at the Hungaroring presents Lewis Hamilton and George Russell with a prime opportunity to experience the benefits of the W14's latest edition. When asked whether the front wing did its job in the Mercedes post-race debrief, Allison said, "It's a bit too early to tell. The new front wing is of course designed to make us go faster. That's why we do all our things. The specific characteristic of this new front wing that we're excited about is that it should improve the balance and performance of the car through the slower range of the corners. Now, Silverstone is famous for lots of things, but lots and lots of slow corners is not one of them. What we took as a comfort from Silverstone is that in the slower parts of the track, we were looking pretty decently competitive. That's a tick in the box for this new front wing, but I guess it will only be when we get to Hungary, which is a track made up almost entirely of slower stuff that we'll get to know for sure. Early signs are promising. The new front wing seemed to do what we expected, and hopefully it will bring us more at tracks which have a wide range of slow corners." Just like Mercedes, McLaren has undertaken significant modifications to their initial season car, resulting in a notable leap forward in performance. The team's recent upgrades, introduced during the races in Austria and Britain, have played a pivotal role in this progression. In Austria, Lando Norris secured an impressive fourth-place finish. However, it was during the Silverstone race where both Norris and his teammate Oscar Piastri truly stood out. The duo showcased their skills by securing second and third positions in qualifying, just behind Verstappen. They then further solidified their performance by demonstrating remarkable race pace throughout the event. In the closing stages of the race, Lewis Hamilton found himself unable to overtake Norris, despite having theoretically superior softer tyres. Hamilton went on to describe the McLaren as a rocket ship, highlighting the impressive performance of the car. James Allison has acknowledged that Mercedes' technical team has taken notice of McLaren's strong showing and recognised the potential of their rival's vehicle. He said, "We keep an eye on all the teams as they upgrade. We take lots of photos and we try and figure out what changes from race to race. We note when something new or unusual comes along. The interesting and unusual thing about the McLaren upgrade is that its lap time effect is quite strong. It's unusual to have a step of that size of relative competitiveness in the middle of a season, and chapeau to them. They've done a good piece of work there, but that also makes it interesting for us because we have the before and after shots and we know the lap time effect was big. So it's well worth us paying more attention than we normally might to another competitor team's upgrade, because in this case, we know that whatever changed has made a meaningful difference to their lap time. It's quite useful for us to know what that was and see whether it can play into our own thoughts of developing our own car. Following the race at Silverstone, Mercedes boss Toto Wolff expressed the view that the team had no choice but to shift their attention to next year's car in the near future. But James Allison believes that there is still crucial work to be carried out on the W14. According to Allison, there are important areas that require further attention and development before the team can fully transition their focus to the next season. We are only just round about halfway through the season and there is plenty more development to come in these cars. All of the teams will of course be turning their attention to next year, and that will defang all of us a little bit in terms of the rate at which we can improve our cars. There are absolutely improvements that we would like to make on our current car that we know will also carry into next year, so it doesn't feel like throwing good money after bad. The feeling is that you're investing in both seasons with those upgrades. For us, yes, you will see the upgrades coming for a little while longer. I suspect for the others too. What you will get in this next sequence of races is a little bit of yo-yoing for position in a very closely packed bunch, as upgrades make the difference for one team for a while, until someone else will come out of sequence with another upgrade a race or two later to even things back out. Where it will all settle down for the final quarter to one-third of a season, we will see. Hopefully, we will have our noses in front and be able to have a strong second half of the season. Amid renewed scrutiny of Mercedes' car following McLaren's strong performance at Silverstone, Sam Bird emphasises that it's not all doom and gloom for the team, considering they're still holding second place in the championship. Mercedes made the decision to introduce a B-spec W14 for the Monaco Grand Prix, abandoning their previous zero-pod design. However, it's important to note that their new solution was not simply a replica of the downwash side pods seen on the RB19. While Mercedes concludes their analysis of the British Grand Prix weekend, Formula E driver Sam Bird asserts that the Brackley squad is not in a state of crisis. While on the BBC's Checkered Flag podcast, he said, "Mercedes have got some work to do. Let's not beat around the bush, they're not where they want to be." But at the same time, I was speaking to Bradley Lord at Mercedes, team's communication manager, and he said, "Sam, remember, and everybody should remember, we are second in the World Championship right now." So yeah, they're not where they want to be, but they're only one place off where they want to be. Okay, Red Bull are a long way ahead, but it's not all doom and gloom. But it is true, right? It's not like they're sixth in the World Championship. They're second. There's a lot of room for improvement, but they're one off where they want to be. So, should Mercedes thank their lucky stars that they are in a fortunate position despite having no shot at beating Red Bull in 2023? Tell us in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.